Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Hindsight Podcast. Real good to be back. And I always say that every time I come here on the Thursday, it's always like a refresher. But I miss Inyemba on Monday because he's not here on the podcast today. But we've got Sheyi back on the podcast. Sheyi Babalola. What's the surname, Sheyi?
What?
Sheyi Babalola.
Yeah.
So that's two names.
Cut.
Relax now. Is this guy not here?
I'm not there.
He's not there now.
And you can do it now, Baba. Don't worry. I'll freestyle it.
But you don't cut now. You have to
Continue.
restart. You don't cut.
But this thing, this podcast always we start at now. We start at
I understand.
I will rope you in. Your producer is working on the podcast today. It's simple now. Like it doesn't have to be that hard, Wale.
You should have told me now.
In the end, I have to speak to the person in front of me.
Strong head.
Producer-
Strong head, now, bad thing.
Producer wanted me to speak to someone, beside me first. But good to have both of you here. We actually had a bit of a change in cast today because Ini couldn't make it. We were recording on a Friday as opposed to recording on a Thursday. IBK couldn't make it as well. So we had to shuffle the pack a bit. Sheyi makes it here. Alakulunify is always here as well. Gentlemen, good to have you here.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what we'll do when everyone on this pod eventually, gets married. Because all these married men, they can't make it today, can't make it tomorrow. And since IBK too, you remember when IBK went and gave a disclaimer on Instagram that he's not single? Since that time, he too has been.
He fooled the whole world yesterday when he announced that he
The
had
guy
a child.
is not a serious person.
IBK, congratulations on your baby.
It's not a child,
on your
though.
baby that's
We don't want
arrived.
to, we don't care.
Is it a baby girl, eh?
Yeah, baby girl.
Baby
His
girl.
sister's child.
Amazing stuff.
Congrats, bro. More to come. God bless the family.
Che, good to have you here. I was asking you, Sheyi Babalola are those two names or is that one name?
No, Oluwaseyi is my name.
Right.
Babalola is my last name.
Really? So
So
Babalola
you
is
thought
a
it
name.
was one full
I
name.
thought it was one name.
one together.
Yeah, I thought it was.
Oh my God.
Sheyi
I
Babalola.
like Boyde.
Yeah.
Koyeni now.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I thought it was one name. Honestly,
That's
But
what they go sell you for Lagos.
Sheyi, what's happening? You have your tummy is increasing. What's happening?
It's a lot of food, not so much sleep.
You
Why
want
don't
to
you
take
sleep?
over from
Why
Mediabomb.
don't you sleep though?
I won't come out this country.
Right? No. No. Look, the hand of God is upon you. You will leave. You will leave. That's not the. That's
I'm
not
just
for-
joking. I've just been very busy. Work is very, very, very stressful right now, especially
What's the exercise you do?
what?
What's the exercise? What's the one exercise you do?
Exercise.
Yeah,
None.
none.
The way you first
Drive.
you can tell.
I was just.
I drive around Lagos.
He's always driving.
I was-
He's always driving.
that can't count as exercise.
I was gonna say, when I asked the question, you don't have
Doesn't
to answer.
answer. I know. If you're
But,
for it again.
well, it's also good to have you back on the table because you're
Yeah.
always behind the cameras and whatnot.
Yeah, Ramadan Karim to all our Muslim Ummah. And by the way,
What did
Ummah.
what did Wale
by the
just
way,
say?
by the way, it's a season of love and sharing, right?
Right.
Rufai refused to share his iftar meal with me yesterday.
Oh, interesting.
How you want me
So,
person chop?
The guy is very responsible.
Wait.
No, actually, he had more than enough.
What do you mean I had more than enough?
how you
get
how you
that?
define
How you take
enough?
What was the food?
It was snacks.
Was
Meat pie, donuts. What else? What else was in
Hot
there?
dog.
Meat pie, donuts, and Scotch egg. That was what was in there.
Why
Better
so?
here.
What else? Where I had more than enough. I don't understand.
Don't give me at least one.
Wale-
Make I taste them. Now blessing for you because of the season of
Who
Ramadan.
tell you that
The
one?
guy they teach me my religion. Misha.
Who tell you that
I
one?
think so. I did
Yeah.
chop.
But I always for me being on the podcast today is actually I didn't use my last energy like this because normally we record on Thursdays. We don't record on Fridays, and Fridays are sort of like they're sort of like
End of the
stay in days for
Weekend.
me. I don't.
Weekend is kicked in.
I don't come out of my house on Friday mornings up until like let's say 9 o'clock. 'Cause I have a show. A shout out to Stoppage Time.
Is the
Marty.
show or is the TGIF movement?
No. I had a TGIF. You know that, right? Thanks to a very interesting Lagos on Friday. You go to phase 1 on Friday, the place is like it's like
Jam-packed.
it's jam packed,
Bro.
So the whole, I mean, kind of like defeats the whole idea of Friday because you are supposed to go out on Friday, see fewer cars, but if you go to phase 1 on Friday, packed.
Phase 1 is a market now.
Like
You
pure
get
market,
long.
like this will be absolutely blocked.
Yeah,
You
because
get-
people are turning into phase one.
Kind of like defeats the whole idea of going out. So what I prefer is if you have some light change, you collaborate with a couple of guys, you can call some guys to your house. I say that we don't do that enough. We don't have drinks in our houses enough because like get drinks,
Chill.
call the girls. You guys chill in your house.
Married man. He's a married man. I could have Moti.
No, I take alcohol.
The person with vodka evaporate. What kind of this thing?
This story will never leave this table.
One of the things I had one of the things I enjoyed the most. I would have loved Ini to be on the podcast. Shout out to Ini. Is I found you know how you go on Twitter, and every time you see some sort of like dragging. What I do is I hardly comment on anything I see on Twitter. I go on my Twitter is football.
You hardly what?
My Twitter is football and serious stuff. No,
I refuse to comment.
but it's true. My Twitter is
I refuse to comment
Because me, I know I follow UB.
I want to stay focused on.
my Twitter is never.
Yes,
it's
I'm
never,
fasting.
It's never,
Peace. Even
You know
though,
where?
my
even
Twitter is
though-
never about. It's never about.
peace be upon you.
It's
Peace
never
be
about.
upon you, my brother.
It's Wale that you see Wale on every space. You get.
Salam alaikum,
He
brother.
replies.
Peace be upon
Wale
you.
replies
Peace
a
be
lot.
upon
Wale
you.
replies on everything. You get. And sometimes I distance myself from him.
Please mute me, I beg.
So
I beg.
I saw a tweet, and I don't know why I even come across this thing, but Nigerians are actually the best.
You see, when people begin to say, I don't know how I did it. I don't know how I came about it. I don't know how it happened. I don't know what happened. There's...
But it's true. I saw a verse,
Violence, Abi.
Chaos 3:1-2. It said, I come in peace not to witness violence, not to partake in it in any form. Nay, but to feed off it. I do not support the oppressor, nor do I feel for the oppressed. Neither will I tolerate who seeks peace. Say, on this ground shall I sit and witness unrest. I think
That is the tweet of the year.
Look,
see,
I think it is the most profound thing I've ever seen. I saw this yesterday. I sent it to Indy. I was at a production yesterday on the mainland, and I laughed so much about this same thing. And I found a longer chapter, longer version of it. It's like, They say peace is a reproach, violence exalts a comrade.
So when you see comrades moving mad, let them be.
Let them be. He say, daily I beseech you.
King James version.
Oh
my
no.
God. Make the violence.
Make the
high.
violence.
Make the violence reach this level.
Reach this level. Dead.
For here.
I think there are a lot of things on Twitter that they should just, the fact that it happened on Twitter, you just remain on Twitter.
Right.
They are not
Bro.
the kind of things that you want to allow to circulate into the community. Let it just remain on Twitter.
But you get to Instagram.
No, you see, the thing is that on Twitter, right, when you see people dragging somebody, I go into the comments immediately because I know that I'm going to have a fun time.
Yeah.
I go into the comments
The
immediately.
replies.
Nah, it's amazing. But that's that. I mean, we have to speak about Erik Ten Hag. United are such a powerful club. It's been the only thing on every major blog. I've seen, 6 articles alone on ESPN, for example, on Ten Hag and whatnot. And maybe rightly so. I don't think it was any secret to anybody who follows football closely that Ten Hag would be United's next manager. Even though you told me a story that Pochettino was surprised. I think it was you, myself, when you were speaking about Pochettino.
I just saw it when I came in.
He was surprised that
The sliding.
he wasn't the one.
They didn't inform
I'm like,
him that
Ten Hag
he
has
didn't
been
get the
chosen.
job.
how
Yeah.
crazy do you need to be?
It is bet right.
What do you want to do, Seth?
If you're Poch, my underlying feeling is that if you're Poch and you don't do well at PSG with the team they have, and you see the mess happening at United, you must be suicidal to want to be
Bury
eager
your
to
career.
to leave PSG and go to Man United. It's actually a suicidal thing, or you must really like to self-destruct. Because I mean the only guy I know who loves a thing like that is what's his name? What's the name of the villain?
Self-destruct.
What's the name of the guy? The guy who come on. I thought when I watched
The guy who was
You have to you have to get what's the name of
It's in
the
your
movie?
mind. It's in your mind.
I know
in your
your
mind.
villain, Thanos.
Yeah, Thanos.
relax.
What's the guy's name?
relax. What's his name now?
You should explore his mind and bring it out.
Ochok.
Hold on.
All right, we're waiting.
Hold on.
Ochok.
to this guy who you can cut off his limbs and whatnot.
Wolverine.
Wolverine Bao.
Wolverine is not a villain. Is he? He's not.
Joker. Is it
Joker. What
No,
do you
no.
mean you can cut off Joker's limbs?
No. This guy who you can cut off his limbs and he'll grow back.
Is it Diesel?
Deadpool.
Deadpool.
So now Deadpool, you
Deadpool hand they
talk
go
since.
back.
The villain in Deadpool.
The thing
Who
they
is the
con-
villain Deadpool?
The thing they call
Or
you
what?
be they
Deadpool
confuse-
himself.
You be
Deadpool,
they
no.
confused.
Deadpool
Deadpool.
is never a villain.
Deadpool is not even a villain.
Yeah, I'm
But there's a
saying.
guy.
See,
There's-
UB is lost.
No.
No, the picture is in his head, but he
No.
can't interpret it.
If you watch the Kanye West documentary,
All right. Well, here we go again.
if you watch the Kanye West documentary, genius. There's a point in the last part where he says, "There's an execution style that was carried out on me.
Okay.
You tie your hands to like 4 different horses, and the horses race away, and you snap." But I didn't know that they were, messing with Deadpool. I think it was Deadpool, something like that. But yeah, you don't know Deadpool.
Can we move
You
on
will
now?
sleep here today.
You guys are not on the same. You're not on the same wavelength.
Oh my God!
But Ten Hag, I don't think there is much to say than to wait for him to arrive and start working, because we pretty much know the routine. Oh, he needs to come in, he needs to clear deadwood, he needs to get this guy out of here. But I mean, if there's anything anybody wants to say about Ten Hag, this is the best time. So just have it on record. Do you think it's going to be a success at United?
I'm skeptical. I'm skeptical because I think Manchester United is a very, very different animal to anything that he's used to or he has ever experienced. And precedent of the previous managers or all the managers after Sir Alex Ferguson suggests that it's not necessarily about your quality as a coach. That is not all that is going to transcend into success when you manage at Manchester United. So I'm skeptical because I feel like his inexperience with this kind of club, with this kind of massive club, I don't want it to work out, to be honest, personally. I don't want it to work out.
As a
but-
Chelsea fan, yeah.
but,
No,
but I can also acknowledge that he's a fantastic coach, obviously. I've seen what he has done with Ajax. Incredible job. But
To be honest,
but I'm skeptical, honestly.
What I like the most about him is that and a lot of people, this is very underreported. People speak about him, and the football brain he has, the way he wants to approach the game. A lot of people don't speak about how willingly pragmatic he is.
He's able to adapt, yes.
Between yesterday and today, I probably seen 5 or 6, interviews of him, just chatting away, and he's very quick to remind that you have to be realistic, even when you want to, be attacking and whatnot. I don't think that's something.
no, I think that's fantastic.
I'm actually surprised by that. I didn't know that was his philosophy.
I didn't know that was
very
that was
hipster
who
guy.
he is as well. But at the end of the day, it's down to what they allow him to do at United. The biggest problem I think he would encounter at United is United trying maybe to allow him to build and also trying to remain the United that can command lots of commercial transactions or commercial deals, which for me I feel like Ten Hag coming, if you're going to allow him build, it's probably going to take 4 or 5 years before he gets to a point where he can really challenge. Because City and Liverpool, for example, that feel like the 2 biggest things right now are not going to stop for anyone. It feels like City are going to get Haaland. Don't deal.
Yeah.
If that happens, problem everywhere. Liverpool probably going to get someone in at the end of the season. Already they look scary. So they are not going to stop. So it's probably going to take him 4 or 5 years. So in those 4 or 5 years, United will still want to be in a place of we're okay enough to command the biggest deals. And if that doesn't happen...
What do you mean the biggest deals?
No, I mean...
Commercially.
Currently...
In terms of endorsements.
Yeah, in terms of endorsement, in terms of...
That doesn't affect the work he does on the pitch.
No, what I mean
What he's saying is that-
if he doesn't do well on the pitch, because I said at the start of my statement that I think it is going to take him 4 to 5 years before he starts competing with the likes of City and Liverpool, right? And if that happens, that he would need 4 to 5 years, then United have got to make a decision of whatever happens in those 4 or 5 years. It doesn't matter how low we go. We're going to stick with him because I'm thinking if you go low enough, that would have, because when for example when Klopp came into Liverpool, at the time when they were conceding so many goals, not winning, it was bad. You can tell that we can't command the kind of deals and all that in transfer market in the business side of things. But for United, they already can do that, right?
No, they can't. My question is, 'cause when I hear deals, I hear commercial partners or player transfers.
No, sorry to cut you. What I understand by what he's saying is, so for instance, now if Ten Hag is building a team and say maybe someone like a star player is available that doesn't necessarily fit into his team, would United want to sign that player because
what they've done over the years?
That's what I understand.
You bring in a player that doesn't necessarily sometimes maybe the manager doesn't really fancy him, but he brings a lot of we're going to sell a lot of shirts, we're going to this, we're going to that. We're going to get lots of fans.
Then it destabilizes what is currently happening.
Are you going to allow him continue building, even though he might drop what you are able to get in terms of jersey sales? Endorsements.
Now I understand, but I don't see how that is. I don't see how that is a problem. I see because
what do you mean you don't see how that's a problem?
So listen, right? You go back to Jose Mourinho's transfers, the biggest Paul Pogba, right? Paul Pogba was wanted by Jose Mourinho. He wasn't forced upon Jose Mourinho, right? Did it work out? No. But what the biggest clubs do is that you stick with the manager regardless. So Lukaku, for example, was brought in under Jose as well, right? Lukaku was working, but popular narrative will tell you it wasn't working.
Yeah.
Right? I don't remember a player except Alexis Sanchez, and even with Alex Sanchez,
Mourinho wanted him.
Mourinho wanted Alex Sanchez as well, right?
What I said was
so I don't think that there is so.
No. So for instance, at Chelsea, Mourinho did not want Chef.
No. Let's not go to Chelsea.
No.
Here's what I'm saying about United. Let's not go to Chelsea.
Okay.
I said probably maybe the manager doesn't even really fancy him, but you bring in him. I'm not saying as a matter of fact.
I don't think that's happened.
And guess what?
At United.
And guess what? When Pogba came in, I think it was the same thing with Alexis Sanchez. Well documented. Mourinho didn't even like how Pogba was unveiled. Didn't like the same thing about Alexis Sanchez. At least I'm very sure about that of Pogba. Right? So what I'm saying is,
Are
they going to be comfortable with the manager building what he wants to do without interfering with, we need to sell this, we need to commercialize this, that's what I'm saying. Because obviously what United did,
I don't see that there is a conflict there. I think that if you look at the signing of Ten Hag, one of the things the statement has been subtly trying to express is that he's the first team manager. He's a manager of Manchester United, of course. But you can see in some statements, the first team coach, right? I think that with all the bad press United have gotten for losing their way and being a strictly commercial entity, because in the end, football clubs have to be commercial. For all the bad press they've gotten, it's a no-brainer that when you bring a guy like him in, and the narrative now backs that you need to allow him to wield his big stick where he needs to. I don't see that it is a problem that you unveil a player the way you want to unveil a player.
Here's the problem.
Right?
Guy,
so for example,
let me tell you where the problem is.
Right. You unveil like Sanchez, right? There's not a problem with unveiling him with the piano, right? What it does is excites the fan base. It is the manager's job to play the player. But what you need to realize as a football club is that if the manager can choose to disconnect from what you have done commercially with him. It doesn't consent and hag that you have gone and done a Los Angeles type waterfall unveiling.
Let me tell you what
if the manager decides that this is the game plan and I don't think that he fits this game plan today, I drop him. In the end, the job is the job. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying.
Let me tell you where
I don't see where there's a conflict of interest.
Let him finish his point.
The problem is
please finish it.
And like I said, it was well documented with Paul Pogba. When you bring in a player, even when Mourinho was unveiled as United manager, it didn't come with that fanfare, and it was Jose Mourinho. When you bring in a player and the narrative, can you remember how Paul Pogba was unveiled? I don't know if anybody has forgotten and all that.
Designer.
It almost feels like, look. Let me finish.
But when you bring that player to the manager and say,
can I
the manager has full control,
which is exactly what I'm talking about.
But that goes without saying.
No, that doesn't go without saying.
After unveiling Paul Pogba, if what you are saying is true, after unveiling Paul Pogba, why was it that Mourinho just couldn't have anything over Pogba in the team?
You see,
Which is exactly what I'm saying. What I've been saying.
You are missing the point. The point is.
I was the one that made the point. You are the one that missed it.
No,
I don't understand. I was the one that made the point.
Listen, that lesson has been learnt.
But that was what I said from the beginning.
Listen now. You're not listening. Mourinho. The mistake happened with Mourinho, right?
Is it a mistake though?
Which is what I said, that the biggest problem.
I don't think it's a mistake.
It was a mistake. How do you know a mistake? You look back in hindsight and realize it's a mistake. In the moment, it felt like a Giants club unveiling a player that was one of the best in the world at the moment, or potentially had the potential to be one of the best. You're bringing him back, we're unveiling with a fanfare.
No, I'm not talking about the unveiling. I'm talking about how he wasn't able to be
exactly.
under
It started
Mourinho
from the unveiling first of all, because he felt like this guy was bigger than everybody.
What happened is that the club, the unveiling was not the problem.
It wasn't. In terms of what it should be. It wasn't.
Look, if I want to be a bit very introspective, I think that you can unveil Pogba like that
and still be the guy that come and is humble to the guy.
Yeah.
The problem was not siding with the manager. Two different things entirely.
Like
Look,
when
things go south, who are we siding with? Mourinho. Do you understand?
Mm-hmm.
You can do both. You can do both.
I get what you be saying.
What you say wasn't what happened. Do you understand? You are making a different point entirely.
No. Sorry.
Listen.
Okay, all right, go
what
ahead.
you be saying wasn't what happened with Pogba.
What happened
We
with Pogba?
all can remember what happened with Pogba. You unveiled him in a way, and then he eventually turned out like you unveiled him like he was bigger than everybody, and then actually turned out like he was bigger than everybody.
Don't forget,
because nobody could speak to him. That was exactly what happened. And that was why I made the statement that I think the biggest challenge is if that happens again. That was what I said.
Listen.
Simple.
Like I told you.
I understand what he's saying.
Like I told you, can do both. So let's
we can do both, but he's also acknowledging the fact that
let's come to the present.
Okay.
Let's come to the present. You have Ten Hag in the team, right? You sign Erling Haaland
or Ronaldo, like
You get-
a lot of people have been saying.
You sign Erling Haaland, right? Top player. You bring him in. You have to max out. You have to max out the potential he has on social media. Do I think it's the right thing to do for a football club? No. But ultimately, when you are dealing with numbers and you're dealing with how to commercialize a product, you have to max out that. But in the end, the manager retains control of what happens on the pitch, which eventually will drive the success going forward. What United failed to do is unveiling Pogba as a superstar player, which he is, not a problem.
Absolutely.
Not a problem. But
he was
relax now.
This guy.
Relax now. The
Pogba-
guy,
Pogba-
One more Syria title. I mean, what?
No.
You won three.
You have to
He was a
realize,
superstar.
You have to
that's an
irrespective
aside.
of your
No, that's
personal-
an aside.
Yeah.
It's an aside, but just to finish it, you have to realize that players now will become superstar without playing, without doing great on the pitch.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yes.
Jesse Lingard owns the Gen Z market. You understand?
I didn't even know
Jadon
that.
Sancho is he's like an idol to these kids online.
Gen Z, yeah.
And he has not played anything in his career. Do you get? So you can be a superstar without actually doing half of what a guy like Park Ji-sung did on the pitch. So going back to the point, you sign Erling Haaland now. You have to max out the potential he has to drive the numbers, because ultimately what you want to do is get into enough homes, get into enough televisions, get into enough cell phones that you can now leverage that brand, that number with a brand that's willing to pay to go into those homes. But when the football begins, you have to relinquish. You have to say, you know what? We have done our part from the commercial point. Now we relinquish control to you as the manager
to do whatever it has
to do what you need to do.
on the pitch.
If that fails, if Erling Haaland becomes a flop, we have to be honest enough to own that L.
No, but you
And
see,
go again. So that's why the point he made. I don't see a conflict.
That's why I said you are the one that missed the point. And here is the reason why. What you just said now, right? There's nobody on this table that doesn't understand that. We were on radio yesterday and I said it will be senseless for United not to give Erik ten Hag the time he would need to do what he wants to do and the free hand to do whatever he wants to do. That was what I said already. And we were already together. What I'm saying is, what happened with Paul Pogba? Well, what you just narrated wasn't what happened with Paul Pogba. Yes or no?
Like I said,
He wasn't.
Like
You-
I said,
no.
like I
wait,
said,
wait.
Jose Mourinho's
it's a
authority
mistake
was
when you look
undermined.
back.
Exactly.
favor of
Exactly. It was a
Pogba.
mistake. And what I said was the biggest challenge I think Ten Hag would have is if that happens again. And then you said, I don't see how that's a problem. I don't see how that's a conflict.
No,
So what are you saying? It's-
The reason why he came in was when you said that
The unveiling.
there was a big commercial angle to it. And what
Of
he's
course
saying
now.
is that you can have that and still
And
subject
no,
the player
you
under
can,
the manager.
You can, but like again, I go back to what I said. What I said was simple. If that happens again, and guess what? When you come and you say, yeah, you have to max out the commercial, that's true. But it is easier said and done when you clearly let it be known, or you clearly make it known to the player that this is how important you are to us commercially. When you clearly
So that
make it
means-
known
so-
to the player
so-
that, for example, let me use Chelsea as an
But you
example.
cannot, you
Wait.
you would always not get a manager that is bigger than. I mean, which manager even big as most of these players now?
So
Which is why you see now, which is why it is that's what I mean by it is easier
managers
said
will
than
never
done.
have. See,
You see, when you come and you say commercialize, you have to max it out.
It's
It
a
is
wild
much
goose
more
chase.
difficult to now say we're still going to keep the player under the manager.
But it's
That's what I'm saying.
possible, but
No,
it's
of
possible.
course it is. It is.
It's a
It
wild.
is.
See, it is an unnecessary hypothesis to think that any manager would ever be as big as a player. Just as great as Pep is, or as great as Jose Mourinho is. Jose Mourinho is a global celebrity, right? But he's a different generation.
Yeah.
He would never be able to interact with social media like Pogba would able to. It's his generation's thing. You get. But you have to realize that in the end, when you have a player, for example, like who's the most important player in the United States now? Cristiano Ronaldo. When you sign a player like that, it comes with a gift and a curse. He has come in as the record goal scorer in football of all time, right? If Ten Hag comes in tomorrow and says,
He doesn't want to use Ronaldo.
I don't want to use Ronaldo, you have to
Justify
allow...
it with your result as well.
No, you have to... No, he doesn't have to justify it.
I think he has to.
No.
No, let him make the point.
Relax.
You don't know where let him
No,
make.
hold on. He doesn't have to... Yeah, because starting. You have to allow him the time to work.
Fact.
Without that distraction. So, I think that Ten Hag at the moment has come in with... He has told the club... I'm sure this commissioner has gone and be like, you know what? My job will be interfered with.
Yep.
How I want to work. The difference now, which is the point I'm trying to make sense, is that the general narrative is swung such that all power must be wielded to him.
Yes.
All the big hitters, Gary Neville, Jamie Carragher, everybody now has no choice but to say, this guy must be given the time to work.
Absolutely.
Do you get? So it's not like Paul Pogba was told. It's not like Boto told Jose Mourinho, you can't play Paul Pogba. But it was a narrative that Pogba could do more, and the fans turned against the coach
For trying to make him do less.
because you have to think about the people that influence how people think. Is the
media.
media. The media influence how people think. So I mean, sometimes we speak about this thing now as if it was explicitly said, but it's a nuanced thing. Pogba needs to play today. Oh no, he doesn't need to play. The manager doesn't think he deserves to play. That's what it has to be. But when you have the most important people in the media space saying the same thing, then the fans start thinking that maybe they have a point because they're in front of a camera.
And they've played the game, so
and they play the game.
they must know
Then
it
they
more
turn.
than me.
Then they turn the manager. Then they turn the manager, and there's unrest in the stadium. There's unrest on social
Can
media.
I-
Now that goes back to the board. The board thinks we're in a rock and a hard place here. Do you understand?
That is actually why
Which
Mourinho was sacked the second time around.
You have come full circle. Let me tell you now. You said it goes back to the club. Everything you have said now. You said then it goes back to the board, and they're thinking we're between a rock and a hard place. Why is that? I was going to use Chelsea as an example. It doesn't matter who you are when you come as a player. During Abramovich, so far era at least, it doesn't matter who you are as a player. If you're not doing well, if you're not playing well, Lukaku now, even though I still strongly believe, I don't think it is 100. I don't even think it's 50% down to him. The fact that he's not doing well, knows that his time. There's a clock on his time at Chelsea. So that's what I've been saying about when it goes back to the board, like you said, and they're saying we're between a rock and a hard place. There's a reason. The reason is because naturally, the first thing on their mind is not how excellent we are on the pitch. It is how well we do commercially. Okay. Because if the first thing on their mind is how well we do on the pitch, there's nothing like hard rock, and if you're not doing well, you're out.
No.
And Pogba was bad for so long under Mourinho, but they just couldn't throw him out.
You see, you can't use Chelsea example because at Chelsea for the last 15 years, the most important
Both
person,
players and managers
the most important person at the club,
exactly,
is
everybody.
the owner.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he's made that clear from the get-go.
Of course.
Not by speaking, but by
Action.
action.
But by action.
You understand? Nobody's safe. The message that Roman has passed so excellently well is that I am the only person whose needs need to be satisfied here.
Yes.
Not even the fans.
Nobody's
Not even the fans.
nobody's safe.
The coach,
Right?
for the moment, he has his ears.
When the coach is, when you have a contract, you work with the contract. When I'm fed up, you and the players go. Who needs to go will go. You go back to Ten Hag now. In the first 3 years, which is his contract statutorily, which we all expect he will be given the time to fulfill whatever.
I don't expect, I hope.
Regardless of what happens. The point is, if Ten Hag starts the job tomorrow, first season he finishes 6th.
Not
You don't
bad.
expect this team to jump into the top 4 next season.
Yeah, of course.
Right? But what you expect to see is you expect to see him let some players fade out and start teaching the players that are willing to do what
I
he
begin
wants
to
to do.
see a pattern.
Can I?
And pattern will not come easy.
Yeah. But
It won't happen in the first 3 months.
Definitely.
Matter of fact, it will be difficult to start implementing the pattern. You will see
When you are
players
still transitioning the squad.
struggling
Yeah.
with their second nature.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't want to keep the ball as much as I don't want to have the ball as much. Oh, 3 months struggle. So it will be a bit of a process to allow the guy to get to where he's going
course.
to. You know.
Final. For me, final thoughts. And I'll start by asking a question. At the time United signed Pogba, UB said Mourinho wanted him. Do we think, because well documented how Mourinho approaches these things? You say we want to sign a player for this position. There's a first, second, third choice, fifth, if need be. If you can't get this one, you can get this one. Do we think Pogba was the first choice that Mourinho wanted?
Who was the first choice?
And the
to
reason
you?
I'm asking, I don't know.
Okay.
The reason I'm asking is this. There was a story about, I think it was Slaven Bilic or something that told this story about a manager at Werder Bremen that was a crazy guy. Used to drill his players like Conte. And at some point, a couple of the players went and had a meeting with the owner or the general manager, and told the owner, this guy is killing us, man. We can't, it's too crazy. The owner was like, no problem. I'll fix it. Subsequently, called the manager, gave him a new 3-year contract. He didn't say anything to the players, but he gave the manager a new 3-year contract. That's obviously a statement to say, if you like, make you won't die. This is our manager. We're staying with him. And I said that to say that these players, just like who have all agreed to the fact that these players are some of the absolute superstars and they might not have done anything on the pitch. When they want to sign contracts, it is crazy the kind of contracts that they sign. We found out a couple of days ago or a couple of weeks ago the kind of goal bonuses that some of these players take. Ridiculous money. So, do you think, for example, if a player like Pogba, I'm not saying Pogba himself, a player like Pogba, which is the problem I'm talking about, a player like Pogba that you bring in with all this commercial appeal and what you need him, you're selling shirts, he's not happy with whatever is going on. And then he goes to have a meeting with his lawyers or with his agent or whatever, with the contract that he signed. Say, this is not working, this is not what happened, and I don't want it. United need to be at a point where they are okay with telling that player to get out if he doesn't align, if he's going to disrupt what their new manager is building. And that's all I've been saying. Are they going to be okay to make a difficult decision even though it doesn't align with what they are trying to do commercially? That's all I've been saying. I move on.
Okay.
Right. I mean, it's a nice conversation.
Thank you guys for listening to the Hindsight Podcast, where the conversations you're having in your homes about football are had here live on the show with the guys in the studio. Don't forget to sign up on social media, follow us on YouTube. So, of course, you get to hear more of these conversations.
Cloud. Reach out.